everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After Nyrisia and Solidia handled the spawning horror in Aeon's End last week, we're going to head to another familiar universe on the channel. We're back to the Scythe universe once again to play Expeditions from Stonemaier Games. In this game, we have control of a mech to investigate a meteorite impact on the Tunguska River. I previously featured this game on the channel on a Sunday, and it seemed to work fine there, and at first glance it looks like this game is going to fit on a Wednesday, which brings us to tonight's video. So let's start by meeting the mech that we're playing tonight. Each of the different mechs have a unique special ability, and we'll get into that in a minute. We've got space for quests that we can tuck, max of 4, items that we've upgraded, also a max of 4, and meteorites that we can meld, max of 4. We've got power and guile tracks over here. Here's a look at our mech. We'll put that over on base camp. And our mech's special ability is we can gain cards directly to our hand. So everything considered in the hand is over on the left side. Anything that we've played out is going to be a little bit further to the right. In fact, I'm going to move that. Well, that light's not going to matter being there by the time we are ready to get into this playthrough. So we'll take a look at our starting leader. We are playing Vesna today. When we play him, we'll get a guile. Depending on how much glory we have, we might also gain power or additional guile. We can also deploy workers to our cards as we play them. In this case with Vesna, if we deploy a blue worker, we can either gain a face-up item or solve. And if we solve, we gain the core value of all of our solved quests. So all of the values in the upper left corner. His companion is Volton, looks like a wolf. Play him for a power. Red worker, activate an adjacent face-up card's ability or vanquish. If this vanquish removes the location's final corruption, we may gain the revealed benefit. That'll make more sense when we get into the game a little bit later. The north and central tiles, and once again this will make more sense, the north and central tiles have corruption that will come out. They'll be corrupted in some way. So we'll have to clear the corruption to get an extra benefit. I'll explain more about that when we actually have it happen. The mechs that the Automa is using are basically irrelevant for this game, so we won't need to go through those. And the Automa deck's already set up, so let's move over to the board and finish setup. 90% of what we need to do to finish setup is in revealing the initial 5 cards that are out here. So our first card up here is search the mining town for survivors, which requires us to find space 11, spend 2 guile, and that will give us play a card from our hand, gaining its core value, and we can deploy a worker. If we play it with a green worker, we can pay a guile to gain a worker. Next card up, a Mind Stone, a meteorite. Play it to gain a guile. If we have a melded meteorite, we gain another one. When it's melded, we gain $1 per placed worker to a max of 3. If we put a yellow worker on here, we place a worker on an active card to activate its ability. And with 2 melded meteorites, we gain a power per placed worker. Next card up. Find a former factory engineer for 1, to go into space 1. Spend a guile to gain a blue worker, that looks like. If we deploy this with a blue worker, we can either gain a guile or upgrade, which would be tuck an item on the right side. Next up, scout the abandoned base. Play it for a power. Space 13, which would be a central tile. We can spend 2 guile to either get an adjacent ability and gain a power. If we deploy with a red worker, pay 2 guile to gain the top corruption from an adjacent location if it's a 3 or a 4. Last up, Amulet of Bravado. It's an item, gaining a guile when you play it. When you deploy a yellow worker to it, you gain a power, and then when you upgrade it, you get this effect. Whenever you have 10 power, you may decrease your power to 3 to gain $3, and will gain 2 coins at the end of the game as well. As far as our special abilities, we've got the sawmill over here, where when we gather, we can either get a red or a green worker. The secret facility right here would give us the top card of the deck, and rescue 1 active card and the worker on it to our hand. That lets us gain draw 2 from the deck and gain 1. This will let us take an adjacent ability. This will let us take any active card, and the isolated settlement will let us gain either a blue or a yellow worker. With that, I think we're all set up so we can determine who goes first via the old reliable die roll. Odds will be for us and evens for the Automa. That's an odd, so the Automa is going first. With that, we're set to get into this game, so let's jump in and get into it. You might be able to see it down here just at the very end of shot, but we've got the Automa deck over here. They say to set the bottom 2 cards of the deck, say to set 2 cards of the deck aside. The way I handle that is I actually use a similar approach to Terra Mystica, where I'll turn the bottom 2 cards sideways, which will simulate the same thing. And once we get into those, we know we need to reform the deck. So the Automa actually has 2 mechs out. They've got a north mech that's going to be moving along this direction of the board, and a central mech that'll be moving along here. So the Automa will take actions based on the deck, based on the cards of the deck, and here we go. That will advance the Automa's Glory Cube. The top section will be for the north mech, the bottom one will be for the central mech. Now we see a Glory action. That only happens if the Automa has that number of Glory, and they'll gain that as they advance through their card. Since they don't have 2 Glory, the north mech will move 3 to the right. The central mech will move 1 to the left. So 1, 2, 3, and 1. They don't reveal these tiles until an action specifically calls for it. On my turn, I can take, since it's the first turn of the game, it technically starts on refresh. We'd have to cover in one of move, play, or gather, but in this case, we get to take all 3 actions on the first turn, or after a fresh turn, we get to do that as well. So I'll explain how all of that. So you'll get to see how each action works. We'll start off with a move action. I think we will move over to movement speed is always 3 unless a mech says otherwise. So I think I'll move over to the isolated settlement. Then I'll gather the benefits on the card. On the tile. In this case, I'll gain a blue worker. And then I'll play out Vesna with it. I could either gain a face-up item or solve since I'm deploying a blue worker with it. But since I don't have anything to solve right now, I also gain a Guile for that. Since I don't have anything to solve, I'm just going to gain the Amulet of Bravado. And as my mech's special ability, I gain cards directly to my hand. So we replace the card down here. We will replace that with a Hero Stone, a Meteorite. Melded, we get $1 per color among cards in hand. And with a red worker, discard a card to gain its core value. 2 Melded Meteorites lets us rescue the previous card. Next card up for the Automa. Cube is advancing again. The north mech's moving 2 to the right because they don't have the 5 Glory. 1, 2. The central mech, however, since there's taking a map and explore action, since they have no Glory right now, they do get an explore token, so that's what this map token is. And the location we find here is Space 12, the fishing village. We gain a power and a guile if we can go here. That star icon is a boast. That's what we need to do for our various goals, which I should probably talk about. 4 quests to get a glory out for us. 4 melded meteorites, 4 upgraded items. The 20 corruption is 1. 7 corruption tokens total. 8 cards under control. And either 7 workers or 5 map tokens. And then this dotted square with a 5+ means we need to go into the corruption bag and draw until we have 5 corruption out, no matter the type. That is a 3 guile. So now we'll need to draw 1 more. and a 5 guile. Yowza. So we're going to need a lot of guile in this game, or at least for that one. That's it for the Automa's turn. As for my turn, now I have to move the cube to cover one of the actions. So I take whatever actions are visible after that. I think here I'm going to take a play and a gather. So I'm going to gather a yellow worker this time. There's my yellow worker. And then I'm going to play the Amulet of Bravado, which will give me a guile and a power. Since I'm deploying it with a yellow worker, I get the power with it as well. That's it for my turn. The Automa next. The cube is advancing again. So now they have their first glory on the board, which means that'll move over to base camp. Then, since they don't have 4 glory, they move over. They're going to move 3, and they can move through the map. 1, 2, 3. That's for the north mech. The central's moving 2 spaces to the left. So now I could move up here to take the... So I can move up here to get a guile and a power, and I think I will. I'll cover up play. So this time I'm going to move and gather. I'll move up to the fishing village to give myself a guile and a power. I may need to take a refresh turn. Well, we'll see what we want to do there. So the Automa's next turn. The north mech is sweeping everything adjacent. Thankfully, it's just the search the mining town for fuel and survivors. So the card they're going to replace it with. Here's a synergy halo. Play out for a guile. It's another item. If you deploy it with a blue worker, you gain a guile. Whenever you gain at least 2 guile during your turn, also gain a power, and you'd get 4 coins for that at the end of the game. Then they're moving 2, so 1, 2. The central mech is just going to be moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. Then for my turn, I don't really want to play anything right now. I think we're going to move, and I think we're going to... I want to move, and I can't really play... Well, I could play Voltan just to get the guile, or the power, so I think I will. I think I'll move and play. So I'll move down to the mech junkyard, and then I'll play Voltan to get another power out. I am going to have to take a refresh turn next turn, though. Next card up for the Automa. Their cube is advancing again. The north mech doesn't have the 2 glory to take another map action, so the north mech is moving 2 to the right. 1, 2. Likewise, they don't have 3 glory, so their central mech is moving 2 to the left. 1... Oh, wait. Other left. No. Other left. Nope, never mind, we're right. 1, 2. So it's moving there. I am going to have to take a refresh turn this turn, which means I get all of my workers back, and all of my cards come back to hand. Next turn, I'll be able to do all 3 actions again. Next up for the Automa, cube is not advancing. The north mech does have a glory, so they do have a glory, so the north mech is taking an explore. Next card, the next tile that they're finding is the observatory. Space 14. When you gather, you get a map token and an upgraded item, but they have 8 corruption that needs to go out first. That's a 5 power. Yikes. And a 3 power. That matches the 8 total on the tile, so we're clear there. Then for the central mech, the Automa doesn't have 5 glory, so they're just moving 1 space to the left, moving right there. As for me, I get to take all 3 actions turn. So what do I want to do first? I kind of want to get a red worker so I can do some more with Voltan. So let's go over to the sawmill. That'll be my move. I'll gather a red worker. I don't have anything that takes green right now. So there's my red worker. Then I'm going to play... Then I'm going to play the Amulet of Bravado with a yellow worker on it, which will let me gain a guile for the core value and a power because I'm deploying with a yellow worker. So I'm up to 4 and 4, which I could do some vanquishing if I can work my way back toward the fishing village next turn. Let's see what the Automa is doing next. Cube is advancing once again. The Automa doesn't have 4 glories, so the North mech is advancing 1 to the right. And then a 0 glory action, so the Automa is taking another explore action. The tile that they're finding here is a mining town, space 11, which one of the quests that got cycled away we needed. That would let us get rescue a card with the worker on it, or take an upgrade, but we need 5 corruption first. So we need to go into the bag for 5 total corruption. There's a 3. That's a 3 power, by the way. And a 5 guile, right on the mining town. Delightful. And we do have to vanquish those in order, so we'd have to have the 5 guile first, and then the 3 power. As for my turn, now I have to cover something up once again. So in this case, I'm going to cover up play so I can move and gather. I'm going to move up to this tile. I will get the map token this time. And then we'll find out what's here. So here I'll find... Come on. Crater Rim. Space 8. That would give us a sweep and a refresh without a refresh turn or an upgrade, but we need 5 corruption there first. So let's find out what corruption is there. That is a 4 power. So we need another corruption since it's not greater than or equal to 5. That's a 3 power. Alright, that is a sweep any number of face-up cards to the sweep pile and refresh, which I don't think we're going to do that. So the next Automa card. Cube is advancing again. The North mech is moving 1 to the right, so that moves it over to the end of the map. Then the Central mech is moving 3 to the left. And an interesting thing to note is, of course, I can't stop on their spaces. So the way they handle that, they can't stop on mine either. In fact, they don't even count my space, so they're moving 1, 2, skipping me 3. So that's how that works. As for my turn, I'm going to... I think I'm going to move and play this time. Question is, what do I want to play here? I'm going to play Voltan with a red worker deployed, with a red worker on him. So I'll gain the power from that. Then, since I played with Voltan, I can either activate an adjacent face-up card's ability or vanquish. I'm going to spend 3 power down to 2 to vanquish this 3. We still have 4 that we need to get to. And then I'm going to move... I'm going to move down to the secret facility with a plan to gather next turn. The question is, well... I think I probably know what I'm rescuing next turn, but we'll see. Next Automa card. Cube is moving once again. The Automa doesn't have 6 glory, so the North Mech is moving 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. And then since the Automa sweeps the Synergy Halo clear and replaces that with... Brave the Eerie Tunnel, looking for space 6. Play it for a power. When you get to space 6, you spend a power to take an adjacent benefit. Sort your location's corruption into any order with a green order, and you may vanquish. Okay, and then since they do have a glory, they're taking the Explore action that's right here. Tile they're finding is the Research Base, space 13. Gain 2 Guile or an upgrade, but 5 Corruption there. So let's see what comes out of the bag. A 4 Guile. And let's see what comes out for the second one. A 3 Guile. I'm going to move that 20 Corruption because the Automa does not have that yet. I'm going to put that over here. I set this up with the Automa being on the other side last night, but I'm putting the Automa over here so I don't want to confuse myself. Looking at the board here, I think we're going to play and gather. I'm going to play Vesna with a blue worker deployed to him, so I'll gain a Guile, and I can either gain a face-up item or solve. Actually, that was dumb because we don't have a face-up item. Oh well. Actually, we can... I'll take back the Guile for the time being, because I forgot we can do this in any order, so I'm not playing Vesna yet. So I'm going to gather... I'll take the top card of the deck, so I will gain a Tesla Pistol, gain a power when you play it, deploy with a red worker to vanquish, and whenever you vanquish the final corruption from a location, also gain a power and a Guile when you upgrade that. And remember, I gain cards right to my hand. Then I'll rescue the Amulet of Bravado, and then I'll replay the Amulet of Bravado, giving me a power and a Guile. Then for the Automa's turn, Cube is advancing, which gives the Automa 2 glory now. The North Mech is sweeping everything adjacent, so they're clearing the Mind Stone and replacing that with... Cure a Whale of Parasites on space 12. Spend 2 Guile to gain a Corruption out of the bag and a coin. If you deploy it with a blue worker... Pay a power and a Guile to gain the top corruption at your location if it's a 3 or a 4. I'm going to go try to grab that. And then they move 3, since they don't have 3 glory yet, they move 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Then if they had 4 glory, they'd go get 3, the central mech would go get 3 corruption tokens, but they're moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. Alright, we've got 2 cards left before we reshuffle the deck. Looking at my turn, I think we're going to move and gather. So I'm going to move over to the sawmill, and I'll gather another red worker. That'll give me another vanquish option available to me. As for the Automa, Cube is advancing. They don't have 7 glory, so the Cube is moving 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. And then 0 glory, they're taking an explore action, so they're moving here and exploring. So the next explore is the warehouse on space 9. I believe that's an adjacent card or meld a meteorite, but we need 5 corruption first. That's a 3 guile. And a 5 guile. Joy. Before I take my next turn, I need to take a small break. Well, this is kind of a bad situation. Because I probably should be starting to look at gaining quests, potentially. Actually, no, I just moved and gathered, so I can't do that. I don't have enough power to vanquish right now. So I think I will just have to... I could move and play, and I think that's what I'll do. There are no items out, so that's not an option right now. I think we'll move... I want to be able to get back down on the board, though. So if I move and gather... Or if I move and... I'm moving and playing this turn. So I think we're going to have to move to the research base. And then I'll play the Tesla pistol with a red worker, which will let me vanquish. And I'll spend 3 guile, going back down to 2, to get this 3 corruption off the board. As for the Automa's next turn, we'll have to reshuffle when they need to draw a card next turn. Cube is advancing. The Automa doesn't have 5 glory, so the North Mech moves 2 to the right. 1, 2. Then the Central Mech is sweeping, so they're sweeping the Eerie Tunnel clear. And replacing that with a Gear Stone. Gain $1 per upgrade if you meld it. Gain a guile when you play it, and plus another one if you have a melded meteorite. Upgrade with a blue worker. And if you have 2 melded meteorites, gain a power per upgrade. And they're moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. Alright, let me go ahead and shuffle the Automa deck up before I forget while I think about what I want. Wait a second. No, I moved my mech. They move 1, 2, skip me 3. That was brilliant, Phoenix. Okay, that's all done. We'll turn the bottom 2 perpendicular, and we're all set there. Looking at my turn, I think I want to move and gather this turn. So I'm going to move down to the secret facility. Then I'll gain the top card off the deck. I will gain Hover Coil as an item. Gain a power when I play it. Green Worker lets me move. And when I move through an opponent's location, that player gains a guile, and I gain $1. And I can gain right to my hand, and I get to rescue a card along with a worker as well. I think we'll rescue. I think we'll rescue the Amulet of Bravado, which brings the worker back as well. Next turn for the Automa. Cube is advancing again. The North Mech is sweeping these 2 cards clear. Replacing them, first up will be a Jetpack. Green Worker to move, and when you move after an upgrade, you may move through face-down locations without stopping. 4 coins at the end of the game. And Occult Nexus as an item. Might a power when you play it, red worker to vanquish. When you vanquish, first gain the core values of all adjacent face-up cards and worth 4 at the end of the game. Alright, then they don't have 3 glory, so the North mech is moving 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Then they don't have 4 glory, so the Central mech's moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. As for my turn, I think we're going to move and play. I'm going to move to the airship wreckage, mostly because I want to be able to gather one of these cards next turn. Then for a play, I'm going to go with the Amulet of Bravado, which will give me a Guile and a Might. So I'm up to 4 power, 3 Guile. I'm planning on gathering something next turn. Next card for the Automa. Cube is advancing again. And both mechs are going for corruption if they can find them, but neither one of them can. So the North mech is actually just going to be moving 3 to the... I believe it checks only forward when it finds something like that, right? I don't think it doubles back. Okay, so... yeah, it looks like it only looks forward. So that's good to know. Which means the North mech can't gain a corruption token, so it will move 1, 2, 3 to the right. The Central mech, however, can, so it'll take the 5 off of the what is that? Off of the warehouse. Okay, then for my turn, I'm going to play and gather. So I'm going to gather one of these face-up cards. And I think I want the... I think we're going to grab the Scout the Abandoned Base quest. I want to start working on trying to solve some of these quests. And I can gain cards directly to my hand. Replacing that will be... Close the Vortex on space 20. 3 power to gain a Boast. Blue worker, if your location's top corruption is valued 3, 4, or 5, return it to the bag. Then for a play, I'm going to go with... let's go with Vesna with a blue worker. I'll gain a face-up item, which will be the jet... I think it'll be the Occult Nexus. No, it's going to be the jetpack. I can gain cards directly to my hand, but I don't have a green worker to deploy to it. I'll probably need to fix that next turn. And then replacing that, I also get a Guile for playing Vesna. Probably need to take a refresh turn next turn. Replacing that will be... Placate Possessed Animals on space 10. If I deploy a blue worker, pay a Guile to gain 2 power. Looking for the Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing again. Now they're at 3 glory, which now starts to become a bit more of a problem. The North mech is taking an Explore action, which they've got to explore right here. So here they'll find an Ice Cave. When you gather, get a purple worker, a coin, and an upgrade, but we need 8 corruption there. We still haven't found the 20. We still haven't found Tarkovsky's lair for the 20 corruption yet. That's a 4 Guile. And another 4 Guile. So that one's all done. Then the Automa has 3 glory now, so they are taking the last corruption off of the warehouse. Rather unfortunate for us. For my turn, I think I have... Let's see, I'm going to move... Well, I can now move and gather, which is actually perfect. So, I'm going to move over to the sawmill, and I'm going to gather a green worker, mostly so I can use the jetpack on my next turn. For the Automa's next turn, Cube is moving again. Then they don't have 5 glory, so the North Mech is moving 2 to the right. 1, 2. And then they have no glory. They have more than 0 glory, so the Automa will be taking a map action right here, gaining that map token, and this will flip over to find. The Weird Forest. Gather to get a purple worker or a melted meteorite after you clear the corruption. So we need 5 corruption there. Five power will do nicely. That's right there. Then, for my turn, I think... play and gather, I think? Yeah, let's play and gather. I'll start off by playing the jetpack. Actually, either one, really. I think we'll play the hover coil with a green worker to move. I'll move to the research base, and I'll gather 2 guile, which will bring me up to 6. As for the Automa's next turn, they are taking an explore action on the North Mech. There's one right up here, so they'll get this map token. Then moving over here to find encampment. Space 16. Gain a card and a boast once we clear the 5 corruption off of there. That's a 4 power corruption. And another 4 power. Okay, I'm on space 13. Just looking for my turn. Actually, did we take the... We didn't take their turn, the central mech action yet. They're moving 1 to the left. For my turn, I think I'm going to refresh, mostly so I can plan on solving my quest at the space next turn. So everything comes back to hand. Then the Automa, Cube advances once again. They don't have 7 glory, so the North Mech is moving 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. And then the Central Mech can take an Explore action because it's got more than 0 glory. They'll gain that map token, and then Central will find... Oop, I did it again. Well, I moved the wrong mech, but it's going to be the same result. So the Automa will find Impact Zone, Space 7. Gain 2 might or meld a meteorite after you clear the corruption off of there. So we've got 5 corruption that we need to go into the bag for. That's a 5 power corruption. That'll work. Okay, my turn. I get to take all 3 actions, and I get to take them in any order that I want. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off by gathering 2 guile, which will bring me up to 8. Then, oh crud. I wanted to solve here, but what do I think here? I think I will play Vesna with a blue worker to gain another guile, and then I'll scout the abandoned base. So I'll pay the 2 guile for that. Then I can take an adjacent benefit. I believe is that what that is? Yep, a benefit from an adjacent location, which would be a sweep and a refresh. I'll just take the refresh on Vesna, and I gain a power for that. And then I have to move, which is rather unfortunate, but I'm probably in a pretty good position now to do some vanquishing this turn. So where do I want to move? I think we're going to move to... I don't have any meteorites. I think we're going to move to the crater rim. That's also an upgrade, so the cube should be there. Then for the Automa's next turn, cube is advancing again. They're not at 4 glory, so they are fine there. North mech is moving 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Central mech is moving 2 to the left. 1, 2. As for my turn, I'm going to cover play and... Yeah, let's cover move, so we'll play and gather. I'm going to start off by playing... Volton with a red worker to give me a power. Give me a power. Come on. And I can vanquish, which I'll spend 4 power down to 2 to take this 4 corruption. And then because I used Volton to vanquish, I can gain the revealed benefit, which is an upgrade. And I will upgrade the... Let's upgrade the Tesla pistol. So now, whenever I vanquish the final corruption from a location, I also gain a power and a guile. So I'll put that there. And that's worth 4 coins at the end of the game. So that's very handy. As for the Automa's next turn, cube is advancing for them. They're not quite to 4 glory yet. So the North mech moves 1 to the right. And the Central mech doesn't have any explorers left to take, so they're moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, skip 3. Okay, looking at my turn. So what do I think? A move and a gather, maybe? Yeah, let's move and gather. First I'm going to gather. I'm going to take the upgrade option here. I'll upgrade the jetpack. Whenever I move, I can move through face-down locations without stopping. Alright, and then I have to move, so I can move, so like it said, I can move through face-down locations without stopping. So I'm going to move to... where do I want to move right now? That is a good question. I think I'm going to move over to the mining town. The Automa's next turn. Cube advances again. The Automa has 4 glory now. When they reach 8, the game's over. Or when I reach 4, they don't have 5 glory yet, so the Automa's moving 2 to the right. The North mech's moving 2 to the right. Central is sweeping. So they're sweeping this gear stone and replacing it with a gold stone. Gain 1 guile. When you meld, gain $1 per adjacent location. And gather. With a yellow worker, when you have 2 melded meteorites, gain a might per adjacent location. And then they don't have any explorers left to take, so they're moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, skip 3. Then for my turn, I'm going to... let's... play and gather. I'm going to play the hover coil with the green worker on it, which will give me a power, and I have a move. So I want to move. Where do I want to move right now? I think we're going to move to the airship wreckage. Then I'm going to gather. Let's gather the placate possessed animals. We can come back to the weird forest for that. I gain cards directly to the hand. And then replacing that will be an arcane blade with the might. Vanquish with the red worker. When you gain multiple corruption via a single vanquish, gain $1 for each, worth 2 at the end of the game. Before we go to the Automa's next turn, I need to take a small break. The Automa's next turn coming up. They have more than 3 glory, so they're moving to take... So the North Mech can take 2 corruption tokens. There are 2 right here at the Ice Cave. And the Central Mech's moving 1 to the left. So we can't get to the weird forest this next turn. Which might not be that big of a deal. As for our next turn, let's... there are some really good meteorites out there, so I'm going to move... Maybe we're going to move and gather. I'll gather a meteorite first. Let's gather the goldstone, and I can gain that right to my hand. Because of my mech's special ability, replacing that will be Portal Orb as an item. Deploy with a purple worker to gain a map token. Whenever you gain a map, gain $1 if your location is numbers odd and 2 if it's even, worth 2 at the end of the game. Then I'm going to move up to the warehouse and plan on most likely melding a meteorite next turn. Actually, do we have... Yep, we can play and gather, so we can stay put next round. Next up for the... Oh, wrong deck, Phoenix. Next card for the Automa turn. The North Mech is sweeping the Arcane Blade and replacing it with Quest Stone. Gain a power, gain a might when you play it. When you meld, gain $1 per quest you control to a max of 3. And with a red worker, gain a face-up quest to your hand. With 2 melded meteorites, gain a guile per quest you control. The North Mech now has 4 glory, so they can take a map action. So they're grabbing this map right here. And the tile they're flipping over. Tarkovsky's Lair. So this is where the 20 corruption value goes. With a boost, and I put the 20 corruption over here. So we would need 10 of each. That's covering up a boost, and one time we get to take an adjacent benefit. Activate an adjacent face-up card's ability, but don't place a worker. Okay, so that's what that does. Then the Automa's hunting corruption, with the Central Mech's hunting corruption, which they have more than 3 glory, so they take that one. Looking at my turn, I'm going to play and gather. First, I'm going to gather the benefit of melding a meteorite, which I'll meld to the goldstone and gain $1 per adjacent location, which is 3. So I'll gain $3 from that. Put that over there. That's now melded. And then for a play, I'm going to play the Amulet of Bravado, which will give me a guile and a power for playing that. The Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing. With 4 glory, the Automa is corruption hunting, but they don't take the 20 token with this action. So they're moving over to the observatory and taking this corruption. And the Central Mech is moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. And we'll shuffle the deck. give that a cut, and we're all set there. All right, then for my turn, there's really no point to to staying put. I could just take a refresh turn, but a 3 move. I think we're going to move and gather. I want to get onto the weird forest so I can solve that next turn. And then I'm going to gather a purple worker since I don't have any meteorites to meld right now. Oops, got to turn the bottom 2 cards perpendicular. That's how I'm doing that. Then next up for the Automa's turn, the North Mech is sweeping the Occult Nexus and replacing it with Salvage an Idle Mech. It's a quest. On space 5, 1 Guile to gain a power, and activate the ability of any face-up item among the locations with a blue worker. And then they're actually taking a map action, so they're moving over here, gaining that map, and they're finding Mountain Pass. Gain an adjacent card and meld a meteorite, but there's 8 corruption there to be cleared. So we'll see what we find here. That's a 3 Guile. Actually, I got to take a refresh turn. But I'm getting ahead of myself there because that's a 3 power. And a 4 Guile. Delightful. Alright. The central mech is corruption hunting, so they'll grab that corruption token. And then as I mentioned, I do have to take a refresh turn here. Alright. The Automa's next turn. Cube advances. The North Mech is corruption hunting, so they'll take this 4 Guile off the location they just placed. And the central mech is moving 3 left. 3 there. Okay. As for my turn, I get to do all 3. So I'm going to start by playing Vesna with a blue worker attached to him. I'm using him to solve. So I'll gain a Guile for that. Then I'll solve Placate Possessed Animals with 2 Guile to gain 2 power. So that's there, and then I gain the solved value of, core value of all solved quests, which gives me another power. That was my play. I'm going to move to the research base. Actually, am I going to move to the research base? Yes, I am going to move to the research base, and I'm going to gain 2 Guile, which will bring me up to 9. I'm getting close to being able to take that 20 corruption, but we'll see what happens there. Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing again. They're going. The North Mech's going corruption hunting, and the Central Mech's moving 3. 1, 2, skip 3. My next turn, I could use Volton to get the. I could use Volton to get another upgrade, and I think I will. So I'm going to play and gather. So I'm going to play Volton with a red worker, which I can either activate an adjacent card's face-up ability or vanquish. I think I will vanquish the 4 corruption token there, which since I vanquished, I can also take the revealed benefit, which will be another upgrade, and then I'll upgrade the Let's upgrade the hover coil. So I can start gaining benefits from moving through Automa spaces. I need to do some boasting, though, although I don't have much to boast about right now. Actually, I don't have anything to boast about right now. And then I have to... That was a play. And then I'm gathering 2 Guile. I was covering move up. The Automa's turn. The North Mech can take a move action, can take a map action, so they're moving here. And they'll find. Stormy Sea, space 19. Sweep adjacent, actually is that sweep all or sweep any number of cards? And activate an adjacent plus a boost, but we need 8 corruption there. That's a 3 Guile. And a 5 Guile. And then since the Automa does not have 5 Glory, they're advancing, they're moving 1 to the left. So that's all done there. My turn. I need cards right now, so I think we're going to move and gather. I'm going to move to the warehouse, and I'm going to gather the quest stone. That goes right to my hand. And then replacing that will be clear the blockaded bridge, space 1. Spend power to rescue a card and a worker. Red, if you have 0 to 2 cards in hand, gain 2 power, otherwise gain 2 Guile. Alright, that was move and gather. Automa's next turn. Cube is advancing again. Now they're at 5 Glory, so we need to be aware of that. They don't have enough to get the 20 corruption, but they will be moving to it. 1, 2, 3. The North Mech is moving to it. Then the Central Mech will sweep these 2 cards clear, the Hero Stone and the Salvage and Idle Mech. Replacing those, first up will be Mitz Valve and Item, gain a Guile. Deploy with a Blue Worker to gain a Guile. And whenever you have 10 Guile, you may decrease your Guile to 3 and gain $3 worth 2 at the end of the game. And... next card. Exosuit as an item, gain 1 power. Deploy with a red worker to rescue a card, and once per turn, if you rescue another card, either gain its core value or activate its ability. That was the sweep. They don't. The Central Mech doesn't have any map actions left to take, so they're moving 1 to the left. As for my turn, I'm going to play and gather. So I'm going to play the Quest Stone with a red worker on it, which will let me gain a face-up quest to my hand. I'm going to gain Close the Vortex. Then replacing that will be Morph Stone. Gain a Guile. If you have another meteorite melded, which we do, gain another Guile. Gain $1 per purple worker, max 3. Deploy with a purple worker, change a worker to purple, it becomes available. And if you have 2 melded meteorites, gain a might per purple worker. So that's something we need to keep an eye on there. Next card for the Automa. Cube is moving again. The North Mech doesn't have anything doesn't have a map action to take anymore, at least within range. So it moves 2 to the right. The Central Mech is moving 2 to the left. Skip 1, 2. That's it for their turn. What am I going to do here? Good question. I don't have a Vanquish available to me right now. I would need a quest move as well. I would need a quest as well. Do I just set up for next turn, or I could meld the quest stone, but that wouldn't do much for me. I think I'd rather try to set up to get that 20 corruption since I'm getting so close to that. So with that, I'm going to move and gather. I'm going to move to the fishing village and get one of each. That'll bring me up to 9 power and 8 guile. Next card for the Automa. Cube advances again. Thankfully, they don't have 7 glory, so the north mech is moving 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. The central mech doesn't have any explore actions, so it's just moving 2 to the left. 1, 2. As for me, a 2 would get them to Tarkovsky's lair. So I think I'm going to move and play. I'm going to move up to Tarkovsky's lair, and I'm going to play the Amulet of Bravado with a yellow worker to gain a might, a power, and a guile. So I just need to get one more guile, and I can take that with the next power action I take. Or the next, I would need to get another guile for that, but I don't know. This is going to be ugly. Next card for the Automa. Cube advances, so now they're at 6 glory. The North mech does have 2 glory, so they're actually both mechs are going corruption hunting. So the North mech will move there, take the 5. Then this one will move to the fishing village and take the 5 guile there. That's not great for us, but the only great thing here is that we're near the end of the game, which is almost going to be a mercy killing at this point. I think here we're going to take a refresh turn. Probably a bad time to be doing this, but we just have not had much go our way this game. All right, next up for the Automa. Okay, the North mech has 3 glory, so they're going corruption hunting. This one's going to be a blowout, I'm predicting. Central mech's moving 1 left. Then for my turn, I took a refresh turn, which was probably a dumb idea at this point, but I don't think I have time to care about that. I think I'm going to play Vesna and deploy him with a... actually, could I do this? I'd be activate an adjacent card's ability, but don't place a worker. Actually, yeah, we could do this. So I'm going to gather the ability there to play. I'm going to use the ability here to activate the ability on Clear the Blockaded Bridge, which will give me a guile. Then I'll deploy Volton with a red worker, which will let me vanquish. And hey, look at that! I managed to grab the 20 corruption token, and then I'll boast and say, "Hey, looky what I got." Of course, it's very late in the game at this point, but still, I need to do something, so I feel like I'm in it. Then a move. I think we'll move up to this tile, so we can get an explore token, and we'll see what's here. Here we find the Ancient Temple. 2 coins when you gather. Also meld a meteorite, but 8 corruption first. That's a 5 guile And a 4 guile. That's a lot of guile corruption. Then, oh, that was my Explorer. Okay, next up for the Automa. Cube's moving again. The North Mech is going corruption hunting, but there's only one where they can get to, so they just get there. And then the Central Mech's moving 2 to the left. As for my turn, I think we're going to move... I think we're going to... move and gather. So I'm going to move to the Ice Cave, gaining a purple, and then gain a purple worker, a coin, and I'll upgrade another item. I'll upgrade the Amulet of Bravado that I've been using all game. So now whenever I have 10 power, I can decrease my power to 3 to gain $3. Not that I think that's going to be useful right now. Next card up for the Automa. Cube advances. They're at 7 glory now. North Mech can go to the Stormy Sea and get 2 more corruption. Yeah, we're not winning this game in a million years. And the Central Mech will move 2 to the left. Before I take my next turn, I need to take a small break. Okay, looking at my turn, I think I'm going to cover move, so I'm going to play and gather. I'm going to play the Quest Stone to gain a face-up quest to hand. The only quest that's face-up right now is clear the blockaded bridge on space 1. Then replacing that will be Chaos Grenade as an item. Vanquish with a red worker, and when you upgrade this, well, we're not going to worry about the upgrade part because that doesn't matter for us. Then we'll gain a coin and a purple worker, since that's our gather there. 2 more cube advances and the game's over. If we can get over to Tarkovsky's lair for a couple turns, we might be able to at least boast and make this interesting. Cube advances, so we've got 1 more turn. The North Mech's sweeping the portal orb clear and replacing it with an Aether Mirror, gaining a might, deploy with a yellow worker to rescue a card, and when you refresh, gain a power or guile per refreshed worker. That would be very helpful early in the game. Then they move 1 to the right. Then the Central Mech is going corruption hunting. They can only get here to get that corruption token. Then we'll rebuild the Automa deck. Turn those like so. Okay. Then I'm going to cover move and then I'm going to cover play, so I'm going to move and gather. I'm going to move here to Tarkovsky's lair. Then I'm going to gather, gaining an adjacent benefit, which will be a guile, because why not? And I have a boast. I'll boast that I've actually got 7 workers, surprisingly. Then the next advance of the cube is going to signify the end of the game, which is right here. So that advances. That's the Automa's 8th glory. I believe I get 1 more turn, though. Let me just double check. Automa triggers end of game when she places her 8th. And I believe when endgame is triggered, I get 1 more turn. Each player then takes 1 final turn. The last turn is placed by whoever triggered endgame. Okay. So now that we've got that straight, the North Mech is just moving 2 to the right. The Central Mech is corruption hunting, so they're taking this token. I just did it again. 1, skip 2. Now that we've got that straight, I'm going to play and gather. I'm going to play... actually, I'm going to gather that I've got 4 upgraded items. And then I'm going to play Vesna with 2 glory, so I'll gain 2 guile and a might. I can either gain a face-up item or solve. I'll gain the Aether Mirror because why not? Not that it really matters at this point, but the automa does get 1 final turn. I would replace normally, but we're about to trigger the end. Well, we have the end of the game triggered, so this is the automa's last turn. Cube advances again. They're going corruption hunting, except there's nothing in range for the north mech. Moving 1 to the right. And then the central mech is moving 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. And that's the end of the game for expeditions, so let's tally up endgame scoring. I'm predicting this to be a blowout. The Automa scores 1 point per map token. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oop. Without dropping them on the floor, Phoenix. That's 12 map tokens. I'm going to work on starting to do some cleanup as much as I can. 1 per corruption token. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13, 16, 18. Those can go back to the bag. So that's 18 more for the Automa. 5, 10, 15, 18. And 4 per glory token, and they placed all 8, so 32. 30, 1, 2. I'll make some change so this is a little easier to count. 10 and 5 is 20. 3 and 2 singles for 5. I think that's all the change I can make. So 40, 50, 60, or no, wait, yeah, no, 60. 20, okay, so let's get 2 10s there for 20. 62 coins for the Automa. This is going to be atrocious. But let's move over to my board now and see if I can even come close to that. I had to change my battery before I counted out endgame scoring, so I'm going to move my coins up here. I'll actually trade that in for 5 right off the bat. Okay, so total value of coins gained, glory placed. Each glory token scores based on the number of quests I solved. Since I solved 2, each glory token will score for 6. I placed 3, so that'll be a total of 18. We'll go 10, 15, 18. Actually, I can trade those in to get a 20. Upgraded items. I gain a total of 8, 10, 13. And 13 coins for that. And then each corruption is worth 2, which includes the 20, so that's another 10. Yeah, 62 to 42. This was not... Well, this was closer than I expected it to be, but I still lost the game. I do enjoy this one, but I'm still kind of figuring out the puzzle aspects of it. I do like it better than Scythe, though. It feels a lot less overwhelming, actually, than Scythe does. So that's very helpful there. With that, we're not quite done with this video, though. I just got a delivery in earlier today, so I'm going to clean up, and then we're going to unbox that. So hang on just a few minutes. Tonight's delivery is from a Grey Rooster sales that I ordered off of Amazon. One thing I've learned with a Grey Rooster sales is make sure I have good curse combinations when I'm trying to open this thing. I don't know why he does such a tape job with it, but he does. So let's crack this open and see what we can do with it. The outside of the box isn't terrible so far, but it's going to suck once I get inside the box. And so it begins. I'll just bring the garbage can up here, because I do see packing peanuts. I'll lift those out carefully. Okay. Let's see if I can turn this way. Come on. There we go. Well, one thing I know for sure, U-line boxes are hella durable. Alright, so Level 2, cleared. Level 3, we're met with more packing peanuts. More liners. And we're starting to see what we've got in here, but of course it's bubble wrapped all to hell. You can get that out of the way. Now, where's a good access point? Oh, forget it. Oop, it would help if I have the blade open and I'm cutting the other way. Ow. Trying to do this without poking myself is not the easiest thing I've ever done. Because of course it's not. I'll put that down. Might be able to pull this loose. That can hit the bin. I still remember the very first delivery I opened up from a Grey Rooster Games. I was cussing and swearing at that something fierce. But I think a big part of the reason I was cussing so much of that delivery was I didn't really know what to expect. Now that I've had a couple deliveries from a Grey Rooster, now I know a lot more what to expect, and we're inside the box. We have actually managed to unearth the treasure within, and the treasure within is Spruance Leader, the Cold War fleet combat solitaire strategy game by DVG. I'll close this carefully, and we'll take a quick look at the back of the box. Sonar contact, Bloodhound away. Spruance Leader places you in command of a naval task force during the Cold War, executing missions to deter or win a war with the Soviets. Assemble the appropriate ships to attack targets and defend the task force from Soviet submarines, naval ships, and aircraft. Leverage your commander's skills to best support your mission. Spruance Leader is a solitaire game. Spruance Leader includes 11 campaigns: North Atlantic Skirmishes, North Atlantic Sea Lanes, Atlantic War, Linked Atlantic Campaign, Hold the Line, Med Black Sea Assault, Invasion of Hokkaido, Indonesian Soviet Influence, Destroy the Kirov, Escape and Evade, and Falkland Island Wars. Your units include frigates, destroyers, cruisers, and more. Spruance Leader is a solitaire game. You command the NATO and Allied forces and make historically accurate decisions, while the built-in game system generates the battles and controls the opposing forces. This means you can play the game at your own pace, whenever and wherever you choose. Game scale, tactical, and operational. Players 1. Time to play 30 minutes per mission, and complexity low to moderate. We'll find out more about that when we get into the when we finally get this to the table. But it's got to go through the unboxing first, which won't be tonight, but that will do it with that'll do it for this video of expeditions and this small product unboxing. As for what's coming up on the channel, Saturday we're continuing Mystical Munchies with the Cooking with Deadpool cookbook as we make the entree, Not the Only Fish in the Sea. Sunday we're continuing the Winter Campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, with the third scenario, In Too Deep. And next week we're playing, what are we playing? Right, we're going back to our background playthrough of Mag 23 Guadalcanal from Historic Wings. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.